You know, in the wild west of crypto, influencers can become kings overnight. Today, we're taking a close look at one of the biggest names out there, Elliotrades. An investigation has peeled back the layers on his whole network of projects. And, well, we're going to follow that money trail and see exactly where it goes. So what's the real deal here? Is Elliotrades some kind of visionary, a genius just riding the crypto wave? Or is there something a little more calculating going on behind the scenes? That's the big question we're going to try and answer by digging into the evidence. All right, so every good investigation has to start somewhere, right? It starts with that first clue. And for us, that clue is a project called Tronchat. It's one of Elliotrades' earliest ventures, and believe me, it really sets the stage for a pattern we're going to see again and again. On paper, Tronchat had it all. You know, the token sale, a buzzing community, a huge promise for the future. But then, poof, it just vanished. Social media accounts gone, websites deleted, and investors? Well, they were left holding the bag. This wasn't just a project that failed. It was like it became a digital ghost. Here's a great way to think about it. Imagine your buddy keeps telling you about this awesome treehouse he built. But every time you ask to see it, there's an excuse. You can never actually find it. That's exactly what it was like trying to find the company behind Tronchat. It was a complete ghost. And let me tell you, in the investment world, a company that doesn't want to be found is a giant, flashing red flag. I mean, seriously, what do you even call it when a project that raised real money from real people just gets erased from the internet? Is that just a simple business failure, or is it something more, like a deliberate move to cover its tracks? This is where the story starts to get a whole lot bigger than just one project. Okay, so Tronchat was kind of the warm-up act. Now let's get to the main event, Superfarm. This wasn't some little side hustle. This was supposed to be the game changer. And this is where the questions start getting really serious. Think about buying a new video game, but the box is completely blank. No screenshots, no description of what the game's about, nothing. That's basically what Superfarm asked investors to do. It launched without a white paper or a roadmap. I mean, these are the most basic documents that tell you what a project even is. It was a massive leap of faith, and there were millions of dollars on the line. And this is where the timeline gets, well, let's just say it's really interesting. Look at this. All within about a week, you see a bunch of money moving around from that old dead Tronchat project. Then, bam, Elliotrades drops a personal NFT collection. And right after that, his big new project, Superfarm, is fully funded. The timing is so tight, it's pretty hard not to think these things are all connected. So, did Superfarm actually deliver on that revolutionary promise? Not really. It ended up getting rebranded as something called Superverse. And this is a classic move in the crypto playbook, by the way. If your project is tanking, just slap a new name on it and hope everybody forgets what you promised in the first place. It's a bait and switch, pure and simple. So with the original Superfarm idea basically fading away, the strategy had to shift, right? It pivoted to the next huge thing, NFTs. I mean, that market was absolutely on fire, and it was the perfect chance to catch a new wave of hype. To really understand the absolute madness of this time, you just have to look at this one number, $69 million. That's how much a single NFT sold for in early 2021. This wasn't just a sale, it was a massive signal that there was an insane amount of money to be made, and everybody, especially influencers, wanted a slice. And of course, Elliotrades jumped in with both feet. He launched two big NFT projects. One was a personal collection, and the other was tied to a video game that was promised down the line, called Impostors. And they were both incredibly good at doing one thing, raising millions and millions of dollars. Okay, now this comparison it's pretty alarming. On the left, you've got Stoner Cats, an NFT project that the SEC actually charged with being an illegal security. And on the right, Impostors. The similarities are just wild. Both marketed like investments, both promising a future product, both backed by big-name influencers. The only real difference here is that one of them has already been charged by the SEC. So far. So when you start pulling all these different threads together, the ghost projects, the bait and switch, the NFT hype, you start to see this really clear pattern of some serious legal and ethical issues. Let's just lay out all the red flags, one by one. See, it's not just one thing. It's the same kind of stuff over and over again. You've got a U.S. citizen raising money in ways the regulators are known to hate. You've got zero transparency about where all that investor money is actually going. You have this tangled web of companies and legal jargon that seems designed to protect the creators, not the investors. And what are you left with? A trail of broken promises. And that whole complex corporate structure thing is a huge deal. It often involves what are called shell companies, basically companies that only exist on a piece of paper. By setting up these entities in places like Delaware, it becomes almost impossible for investors or even regulators to figure out who's really in charge or where the money went. It's a way to create confusion and avoid being held accountable. So here we are. We've followed the breadcrumbs all the way from Tronchat to Superfarm and through the whole NFT boom. So now, let's step back and look at the whole picture. What does it all really add up to? When you just lay it all out like this, side by side, man, the pattern is just staring you right in the face. A social platform? Vanished. A revolutionary NFT platform? Rebranded with no product. A multi-million-dollar game? Never delivered. A launchpad for new projects? Total silence. It's the same cycle every single time. Promise, funding, and then nothing. The conclusion is pretty hard to avoid. This isn't just a string of bad luck. It's a formula, and it's repeatable. Find the next big wave of hype. Raise a ton of money. Make these huge promises. And then, right when it's time to actually deliver, you just pivot to the next shiny object, and you leave the last one and all of its investors in the dust. And all of this leads to the biggest question of all, doesn't it? Yeah, this investigation was about one influencer. But this pattern, this formula, it happens all over the crypto world. In a space that's built on hype, where fortunes are made on nothing but promises, who is actually responsible when those promises get broken and all the hype just dies? The answer to that is probably going to define the future of this entire industry.